Simon Sinek says it best. He says, if you don't know people, you don't know business.
And I wasn't going to be one of the people that was saying that she can't do this. It's a dumb idea. No, I was going, it was.
You know, like, essentially business, like, you have to become a people person to run a business, because no matter what, like,
I'm really passionate about the video game design and how to implement this. I see it as has huge potential.
all the way through, went to UCCS here, graduated at UCCS, class of 2014, in business.
My goal at first wasn't to sell anyone. It was just to get to know as many people
Drum
as possible.
up. We dub ourselves as the #1 podcast in Colorado Springs, because we have
and soon the world.
One of our sponsors is Recon Marketing. Recon is the fastest growing social media marketing agency in Colorado. Recon focuses on becoming an extension of your business while providing social media management, review management, and digital marketing. Recon Marketing, putting you on the radar. Our next sponsor is Planet Duct. Planet Duct offers astronomical air duct cleaning with the most powerful vacuum trucks in Colorado. They have taken air duct cleaning to a new intergalactic level that is far more powerful and proactive than anything on the market in El Paso County and southern Colorado. Sheath Underwear. Sheath Underwear has a pouch for the boys. It is everyday underwear for every man. 100% money back on the first pair if you don't like it. Visit sheathunderwear.com and enter the code COSBP20 to get 20% off your order.
The People's Tiny House Festival is the nation's largest gathering of simple living, featuring van conversions, bus conversions, and tiny houses, of course. Catch the event in Loveland, Colorado, July 16th and 17th at the Ranch Events Complex.
Get your tickets at peoplestinyhousefestival.com/tickets.
All right, let's introduce the show, man. This is the COS Business Podcast. We're doing a new thing. About once a month, me and Marcus is going to be sitting here and just chatting about business, chatting about things. I think it's going to be exciting. Maybe giving some information, some tips, some ideas, some brainstorming, maybe some brainstorm stash. I don't know. We're going to get creative with it. I think, yeah. So, yeah, I'm Andrew Hazzlee, sitting here with Marcus Alvarado.
It's actually Alvarado. No, I'm kidding. It's the same. Yeah, you said that right.
It's Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado.
Do you say Colorado or Colorado?
So I'm not. I wasn't born and raised here. I was just kind of raised here.
So you say it wrong?
I say Colorado.
Yeah.
The locals say Colorado.
Colorado, yes.
Yeah, so I hold against that at all costs for sure.
Yeah.
So even though I went to middle school and high school here, but
which middle school? Which high school?
I never told you these stories, have I? So I went to Challenger Middle School. It's up there. It's kind of in Briargate area.
Okay, fancy, huh?
It's kind of cool. It's an older middle school, but the cool thing about it is they have like a what's it called? They have it's named after the Challenger missile.
Okay,
or
the
spacecraft.
one that blew up.
Yep.
And
so
just killed the people.
Yep. Yes. Well, yeah. That's what happens when it blows up. Before Elon Musk and it was unmanned stuff happening.
Yeah.
But they have like a space center there for the kids to like simulate space flight. Mm-hmm. And like they even have them like doing projects and stuff like that. So once a year you go on a field trip to your own middle school and you go to the little center and then like you pick like a captain of the ship and like all these people have all these different tasks. Like 30
That's
students
cool.
there, and yeah, you kind of like work our way through like a simulation of what it would be like to be in flight and like gathering minerals from another planet and so on. So it's pretty cool actually.
I love space.
So yeah, I actually hated middle school, but I loved that experience.
Yeah.
I moved around a ton.
Were you awkward in middle school?
So one good thing about me is I moved around a lot. Like, so I didn't get to be that awkward because I had to adapt so much because my mom moved me around so much, and I moved states, right? So like I was born in California, moved here when I was 3, then moved away from here when I was 6 to New York, and then moved back to California when I was 12. Or when I was 9, and then when I moved back to Colorado Springs when I was 12. So every like 3 years, moving different states and stuff like that. So like
you went from left, right,
always
middle,
met meaningful friends. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have this friend for the rest of my life. This is a great friend. And then like,
so you had to learn how to move on quick.
Yeah.
When I was young, we moved a lot, but what that did to me, that actually made me less social in school because I was tired of having.
You didn't want to start the process over again.
Rebuild it, and like it just made me more kind of quiet, sitting in the back, kind of kid.
Yeah.
Look, I keep forgetting. I'm gonna be forgetting to switch to.
That's all right. You got my reaction to what you just said, so it's okay.
Yeah. See, it works. Yeah. And that's what I noticed when I do these episodes where I'm doing the switching while I'm doing the talking. I'll end up doing the camera's usually on the person that's not talking because it's easy to remember to flip it when you're not talking, but when you are talking, it's hard to remember to go back to you because you just want to say what you want to say and you don't have to worry about switching the dang thing.
Yeah, no, for real. So then I went to Pine High School up north in Pine Creek area, and then went to even all the way through. Went to UCCS here, graduated at UCCS, class of 2014 in business with emphasis in marketing, right?
Marketing.
But you brought up a good point over there, which I think is kind of important. It's kind of cool for our inaugural episode to talk about like kind of the evolution of this show and like the things that we try. We dub ourselves as the #1 podcast in Colorado Springs because we have
soon the world.
And that's awesome. Like especially on Facebook, we've been able to get like a pretty good platform and good audience every time we release a new episode, which is awesome. But like, from the beginning with you, like obviously I wasn't here from the very beginning. I came on as the owner like a year in or something of that sort. Like talk a little bit about like maybe what your thoughts were when you first started this and what it would be, and kind of, how everything always happens. You have expectations of what it's going to be, and then all of a sudden it changes to something completely different and you pivot and whatever. But like talk a little bit about like the formation of the show and what it is now.
Well, at first the reason why I started it was as a hack. I mean, not to be a hack, not a phony, but like hack, like a computer hack or something. You know what I mean? Like, as a business hack, and when I say that, I mean a way for me to get into the community and grow my business. A method that I don't know how to describe hack without sounding negative. Maybe the hack's the wrong word.
Well, especially in the age of cybersecurity and cyber hacking. But we understand what you're saying. Like it was a way for you to kind of break into the community here. You were new here. You're from Kansas City, and you're trying to make it like a bang real quickly and get your name out there. Because I mean, you're an entrepreneur. Not only that, you're starting out as an entrepreneur, but you're starting out in a new city, like knowing nobody. So like you have to kind of quote unquote hack things, right? To get yourself to make an impact quickly and to make money quickly, right? So like
the idea was, it's like I was doing business meetings or coffee meetings, getting in meetings just to talk to as many people as possible, just to get to know as many people as possible. And that was actually against some of my coaching. My coaching was like, put everyone through a discovery form, qualify them before you go to a meeting so that you're not wasting your time with people who aren't even going to get your services.
Right.
But my goal at first wasn't to sell anyone. It was just to get to know as many people
as
possible.
Up some business, get to know people.
Get to know people. And like, I wasn't good at that. I wasn't good at talking to strangers, I guess. I mean, maybe I was. Maybe I just didn't know it. But so it's like going in these meetings, like me, almost at first, every meeting that I went into, actually, at first, it was like, I'm going to try to sell this person, But, and that was in the back of my mind for almost all my meetings at the beginning. But, it was also, I got to get to know people. I didn't know how important that actually was when I was doing it. I just knew I needed to do it. But it's definitely something that's super important to really do that. So I started the podcast just to really have an excuse to talk to people while humbly providing so much value for them without asking for anything in return, because that wasn't my goal. It was just, I want to grow this show. I see some potential. And then like a couple weeks into it, like I put out a message to a few people to try to come on the show. And a couple weeks into it, I was like, I can fucking get sponsorship for this. And so like within the first month, I had 3 people paying me $100 each. And that was crazy because I've started multiple podcasts before. And that's how I knew this was a good idea, is it was already making money at the beginning, already making like $300 a month, and it wasn't consistently because it wasn't like a contractual thing. I would have to every month, ask them again. And some of them were just 1 month, some of them were a few months, and got a few people on that I wasn't expecting. Like people are like $100, yeah, no problem, and so it's cool. And that was awesome because that $100 was actually vital to me at that time to survival. Like I appreciated so much of that, like, and the people who believed in the vision of the podcast to put their money where their mouth was, essentially, and it was just really cool. And so it's like we grew it from there, and then started in November. We basically existed within 4 years. I mean, we have episodes on 4 different year dates, even though the show is only 23 months old. Well, it's been around for 20. It's been around for more than 23 months, but if you count the COVID, for COVID, I shut it down for 4 months. If you take out 4 months, it's 23, but it's 23 plus 4 months if you include the COVID. That's how long the
so
podcast
like 19, 20, 21, now 22 is what you mean by 4 different years?
Yep.
As far as like there's been episodes in all those years.
In all those years.
Gotcha.
And so it's like starting first episodes record. The idea came to me in November 2019 through Gary Vee, explaining exactly what exactly why you need a business podcast for your local city. And so I was like, bet. And I seen that, and it was I immediately made a trailer that night. I made a cover. I made everything. I was like, this is going to be the best thing for my business ever, because I'm going to literally be able to be talking to people who are my ideal clients, essentially. Everyone who's
small
in
business
business.
owners. Yeah.
And so it's like that started in November, and then the end of March 16th was the last episode that got released, because March 14th was when the shutdowns happened, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15, 14, something like that. I already had one episode recorded, but like, that one got released, and it was with Brush Crazy, actually, who is a client of mine, one of my first clients. Actually, I would need to call them because I love my clients, and I haven't heard from them in a while. I mean,
Yeah.
I love people, and not just clients.
Simon Sinek says it best. He says, if you don't know people, you don't know business. So true.
If you don't what?
If you don't know people, you don't know business.
Know people. I think you said own people. I
Yeah.
was like,
If you don't know people, you don't know business.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
social animals, and like essentially business, like you have to become a people person to run a business, because no matter what, like as like you're going to a part, we talked about this on the podcast today, like year 3 for you, it's more than likely going to be like the time where you're starting to hire and be in that management role. Well, it's a whole different ball game, man. Like
it is.
you're really good at your trade, but not only that, now you're kind of working your way into like the QC quality control world, because other people are doing that world now, and you got to learn how to like coach them up and like not be a micromanager and manage people. It's a completely different ball game,
For sure.
and it really works that leadership itch for you, and see if you're able to do that as a leader. Like that's really the proving ground, I think, is when you're able to scale your business, how you're able to manage people. And if you can't do it, you're gonna have to find somebody right away to get in there to do it.
So how did you do that with the People's Tiny House Festival? Because that's an event at that caliber. You can't do it yourself.
Yeah, it was. So I'm definitely one of those people, and I wish Nick was here. You could talk a little bit more about it. But
Call him up.
I know we should call him up on no, he's busy right now. He's a newlywed. He's doing newlywed things.
Okay.
But no, they get for sure. Like when you get to that point, you don't want to give it up. Like because you're the best at it. Because you have so much experience. You've been doing it for so long. You know exactly how it's supposed to be done. You can do it quicker too.
That's the thing.
And you're like, well, I could just do it quicker than teaching somebody. But you have to take the time to train them and to understand that like long term, someone doing these little things for you is only going to benefit you, because what are you going to be doing now that they're doing that job? And even if you're having to go over and be like, okay, you need to do this instead or that, way less time being spent. But it takes a long time for that to happen. When I was doing the Tiny House Festival, I had started with a team of 3.
Okay.
And I was just trying to make the event the best I could. So if they weren't doing their job, I'd jump right in right away and do it for them.
Yeah.
Didn't even like give it an option for them to really fail, because I just failing wasn't an option for me. All my money was on the line. So it took time. The reason why I bring up Nick is because Nick was definitely like
Was he there? Was he one of the 3?
No, not in the beginning. Okay. So in 2018, when I did my very first event, my own money all on the line, he wasn't there. He came on January 2019, so shortly after that. Our events used to be in August, so like 5 months after that.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I was that guy that was like, hey, what are you doing right now? Like, are you doing the things that you need to be doing to be successful? And a lot of it, like, there is like a give and pull with that, because you're also teaching somebody how to be an entrepreneur. It's really hard to do things on your own time and manage and be accountable for yourself, as opposed to like being in a job where it's like, hey, I got to show up at 9, got to clock in, I clock out this time. Like everything's very scheduled out. Well, when no one's watching you, when you're an entrepreneur, can you do that?
Yeah,
can you hold
that's
yourself
the hard
accountable?
part, yeah.
Can you be motivated every day to do
That's
it?
the blessing and the
Discipline,
curse,
right? So I was kind of trying to teach him the discipline too. It's like, hey, listen, like this is what I'm doing. Hey, do you want to get together at a coffee shop? I'll go help you with whatever. I'll shadow you on all the calls. Like all the calls will be together with me.
Nice.
But it was a lot. It was a lot for him, and like it's kind of like, I'm very.
Battery's running low.
Oh.
Forgot one thing. I plugged in 10 things, but I forgot 9. Or the
Yeah, gotcha. No, just to kind of go back on that, like it's hard, man. It's hard to learn how to be a manager. Ooh.
All right, dude.
We back on?
Nope. I thought I hit record and it didn't. Oh, this thing is acting like.
The question you asked me was,
Finish.
How hard was it to like start getting that role, like managing people as opposed to like being in your business as opposed to working for your business, right? That's like the whole like cliche thing. It was hard. It was hard to learn how to do that. I've been in managerial roles before, but when you're with people you care about and you want them to be successful, not only that, but the stake on the line is your business and your livelihood, it just adds a lot more curveballs to the whole situation. So it takes time, but you get better at it if you're up for the occasion, if you're up for the challenge to do that for your business. So I kind of had to force myself to be a better leader in a lot of ways. And you manage people differently depending on the person too, you know? So that's another thing too, is like being a chameleon and understanding people's feelings when they need you to understand their feelings. Or if they're a more blunt person, like feeding off that personality too. And I've learned how to do that quite well. Moving around all the time and just being in business for so long now. So it takes time, but like I said before, it's totally worth it, man, because like then once you're at that level, you can be in so many different places at once. And not only that, but the people that you train a lot of times become better than you at that position just because they end up doing it longer, you know? Yeah. And they add their flair to it, and maybe they have a better personality for it. Like Nick I think he's more of a salesperson than me, you know?
Interesting.
I'm very much personable. Like I'm very good one-on-one and getting like a sale.
I can see that, yeah.
But like Nick, he just knows how to run. Like, I don't like to talk too much. And I'm not saying you have to in sales, but like if you're running like a meeting or anything like that and you have to like break the ice, like I can do that if it calls on it, but it drains me. It doesn't drain him. It doesn't drain him. In fact, it gives him more energy. You know, he's an extra. I'm probably more of an introvert at heart with that. So it's been a blessing ever since. And then again, like I said, Nick's an owner of Recon, so now he's, you know, a pupil of mine, and we get to work together as colleagues, and it's been beautiful. But no, it's been awesome, man. One thing I definitely wanted to talk about was
well, I have more to add on what you were saying, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, before we go ahead and ask that, and then we'll move on because I have some things. Well,
I'm
not
going to ask that. I'm going to add to it.
Oh, cool.
Because it just so happens on my way here, I was listening to a Tom Bilyeu Impact Theory episode.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And the guy on there was like the best leader ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By that, he has a lot of knowledge in leadership, and he basically was talking about that actually. And he I forget his name. I wish I could remember his name, but it's okay. He by the time he was 28, he had one of the top 10 biggest churches. He created the top 10 biggest church by the time he was 28 in the world. You know.
Yeah.
And so that requires a lot of leadership. Well, he said he heard a quote from someone. If you do any field, like say any kind of subject matter, if you do it for 1 hour every single day for 10 years, you become a master or something like that, or less than 10 years. I forget. If you just do it every single day, you know, you become a master. And so he wanted to do that in leadership. And that's kind of by the time he was 28, he built that church. And he's like an old dude. He's like 70, 60, something like that.
Oh, now he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. But it was just what he was saying specifically that goes with what you were just saying is everyone is different. When it comes to leadership, there's a specific way for every single person. So you have to get to know every single person, figure out what works with them the best, because you can't apply one thing to the next person. And that's what you were saying. I just thought that was cool because I was just learning about that earlier.
It helps too, like if you have a genuine love for people, like if you love people, like I love listening to people's stories. I can do it all day long. I can talk to you about your life and your stories all day long because I'm genuinely interested in their story and what brings them to be, because that fascinates me. Anything from I love origin stories. I think a lot of people do. I think that's why there's so many movies about the origin story of Spider-Man or whatever it might be. Like I think people are fascinated of like, cool, we see now you're like unbelievable businessman, billionaire, cool. That's like that's unreachable for us. How did you get there? I think more people are more interested in the journey than rather, okay, great. Yeah, Mark Cuban's Mark Cuban, but like Mark Cuban's human. Like what made Mark Cuban him today? I want to know that.
For sure. You know what's funny is when I was into rapping and stuff, I would look at like a lot of rappers' origin stories and how they got started, how they did, and I was such a naive and silly thing to think, but Eminem would drink Mountain Dew, and I was like, if I drink Mountain Dew, I can rap like Eminem. And that's marketing, though.
Mountain Dew is like crack, so there you go.
So I don't think he drinks it anymore, but it was just those kinds of things. It's like, you're like, what can I do to emulate what they did? But that's not how it works. Everyone's stories, you learn as you become successful, everyone's story is completely different.
Yeah.
You can't do what they did because it won't work for you. You know, it's like, drinking Mountain Dew is not going to work for me, man.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I wish it would.
But Monsters might, because you've been drinking a lot of Monsters.
Yeah.
So
Cheers, mate. They're like the Mountain Dew of energy drinks, you know. And Mountain Dew's already, but it's basically an energy drink, you know. Before energy drinks were popular, they were like the, you know, like highest caffeine amount, and like what's crazy is that's like a third of what an energy drink has. You know?
That's insane to think about.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about like your mom's new venture, because you were talking a little bit about it last week when we hung out, and sounds like your mom's got the little rub from you as far as entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm. I think what I did is I've inspired a lot of people over the last few years.
Yeah.
And what I think I did was like I made her believe that it was possible. Let her believe that it was possible. Planted that seed just by seeing what her son was doing, I guess you could say. But recently she did Mary Kay when we were younger, actually, which I'm going to actually tell her to do a little video about this story, about a specific story about me and my brother, because Mary Kay is makeup. It's MLM, multi-level marketing, and I'm not really like big on multi-level marketing. I'm not against it. I know people can be very successful in it. It's possible.
And we know successful people at it, in fact. Yeah.
And I just know that a lot of it is a lot of manipulation there's a lot of manipulation in it, and there's a lot of stigma around it, and maybe I'm wrong with that. I mean, but yeah, I just not a big fan of it, but I knew if she was determined, she could be successful in it, and I wasn't going to be one of the people that was saying that she can't do this. It's a dumb idea. No, I was going, it was either do that or double down the other way, you know,
right.
Like really be like her coach, you know, really encourage her. And like, that's another thing about Frank Sinclair, you know, he's really good at encouraging people, and he does it for free.
Yeah. And what's his brand? It's be encouraged, right?
Yeah. He's the CEO, the chief encouragement officer. You know? Yes. And so yeah, it's like just seeing her, and I'll tell that story right now of me and my little brother. When she was doing Mary Kay when we were younger, me and my brother found, like, we were like 5, maybe like around 5-ish, and we found like a bunch of the makeup, and we just started getting into it and smearing it everywhere, you know, applying it on our faces, you know, like.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and we totally ruined her whole supply.
Oh my God.
So now I feel guilty. Now I have to like pay that back.
Oh gosh. Yeah. And wisdom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's like that may have even been a final blow for her if we. I don't remember exactly. All I remember is we got in trouble.
Oh, for sure,
Some
dude.
ass whippings.
For sure, dude. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Well, that's awesome. That's so cool that you've been inspiring, you know, it's so funny once you like live and breathe these things, like your business world kind of collides with your personal world, right? And I feel like that's a good example of that. But like, is there anything else like personally you have like goal wise for 2022? We're just about to get into March. Don't want to timestamp this episode, but we're like, by the time this episode comes out, it's gonna be March, but
most likely. Yeah. Oh yeah, it will be.
Definitely. 100%. It's only a couple days away. But yeah, like, is there any goals you have personally for this year?
Just winging it. No, just kidding.
Flow.
I am actually kind of winging it in a lot of ways. But no, I mean, winging it's got me this far. but there's I mean, it's winging it and it's not winging it, because every day I'm intentional on what I want to do. Every day I'm working towards the goal. Every day things are building and compounding on itself. And it's just getting better and better, and it's just really fucking cool. but I don't have any actually written out goals, but kind of in a way. I would like to have produced a video game for a company by the time that the year is over.
That'd be so awesome.
Yeah, and so I mean, and it's gonna happen. I'm producing one for my company, but I actually want to close a contract, like do an actual deal, and actually start implementing this so that I could start working out some of the processes, because. We're not just doing video game development. It's the same idea with my video production company. We're not just making pretty videos. We're not just making pretty videos for people. We're not doing wedding videos. We're doing business videos for marketing, for business development.
They're intentional videos.
For business development specifically. And that's kind of figuring out some of the process of how to implement. I already know some ways I can, but to actually implement them and actually see results, that's what I really want to get working, you know, for a video game. Because I have really amazing ideas for each... Switch for each. Yeah. I realized it wasn't on me.
Yeah.
But for each video game we do, they're going to be different, completely different for whether it's complexity or the way it's implemented. It's saying right error again, but I'm just going to let it keep rolling because it's still rolling. Yeah.
Whatever. We'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Hopefully.
It should be.
We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, it still worked through last time, so I know it worked through now. It should. But yeah, so it's like, I'm really passionate about the video game design and how to implement this. I see it as has huge potential. I've been intentional with this year. That's one thing with this year is any new idea, any any person that comes with me saying yeah, this is the best business opportunity, batting it off, dude. Like I'm focused on I've got the best business opportunity, you know,
right.
in my mind, you know. I mean, there could be better things that could be a better ROI, you know, on time investment, you know, money ratio over time. Like, you know, it's like there's some things you could do out there that, you know, you spend 10 minutes, you make $10,000. That's not what I'm doing, and also if it's too good to be true, it usually is. So,
right.
You got to build to that, and I do believe the human games may even get to that. Every 10 minutes, we're making $10,000. You know, what is that? Like 10 times 10. Oh, that's a lot of math right there.
Wait. So say it again. $10 for every what?
$10,000 for every 10 minutes. What is that annually?
Oh gosh, dude.
You know, I want that. There's actually a number. There's a specific number in entrepreneurial land. It's like 300 and something an hour, and it equals like $1 million a year or something like that.
Yeah, so it's like it's $82K I know a month.
Okay, $82K.
Yeah, so whatever that breaks down to, but yeah, that's awesome.
You have to charge if you want to be a millionaire in whatever you do. You have to charge $300 an hour, essentially, and that's just the way it is, you know.
At the minimum, to be a 1 millionaire,
yeah, solarpreneur.
Yeah,
solarpreneur millionaire. No, that's
yeah.
We'll cut that. No, just cut that.
We don't cut anything, okay?
Yeah. We say cut it and then we leave it in.
Yeah, and then we even have the little cut sign, but we don't do it. We don't use that for that.
No, for sure. And so that's my main goal is to have a video game sold and to keep floating, not floating, thriving. Because I was floating. I was just trying to keep my head above water for the longest time. Now it's a little bit better than that, you know? It's a little bit better than that.
What does Ray Kroc say? He says, if you're green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotten.
Ray Kroc is the guy who did the McDonald's, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what you're saying. Like, ripe being like, okay, like a beautiful apple, ripe. But it's only going to be there for a little bit while until it rots. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you're not always growing, then you're gonna like we talk about anything. Yeah, you always got to keep moving. You got to be dynamic. You got to keep adapting, unless you're gonna turn into the Kodak of your time. Yeah. Anybody know Kodak? But definitely a lot of people who are over the age of 30 know what Kodak is. It was the camera. The camera company. They developed cameras, and I think they did everything right for the manufacturing of cameras and all that stuff. The famous commercials of the Kodak moment, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. Yeah, the Kodak moment.
But they crumbled under the digital age of digital photos and everything of that sort.
They didn't do what they needed to do.
Adapt, Blockbuster, adapt.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many examples out there, you know, that you think would be too big to fail.
Yeah. But
if you don't adapt, man, you're going to fall for sure. I think it's also important. Like, I learned this lesson being a marketer a couple of years ago, and this might be important for you too. I was very everything that I did. Always tactical. Oh, you got to do this strategy. You also got to have like the long-term strategy in mind. So like strategy meaning like what are you trying to do? Like what's your long-term goals? What's your short-term goals for this year? Then pull it back from there. Rather than being stuck in the weeds of tactics.
Yeah.
Because tactics always change. There's always going to be a new tool. There's always going to be new things you can do. But a lot of entrepreneurs, especially when they're starting out, try all the newest tools, newest, coolest things, newest courses, whatever it might be. All great things, but if there's not a purpose behind it, again, being intentional with your time, being intentional with your resources and what you pay for, like you're just going to burn out all your resources and all your money because you're trying too many things at once. Got to have that strategy in place. I had a client that it was a good learning lesson for me. They ended up leaving me back in the day. This is like 4 years ago when I was at an agency. And they're like, "Oh, what's the strategy?" I'm like, "Well, here's the tactics that we're using." And he's like, "Okay, but I get that. But we're in the car with you. Where are we going?"
Yeah.
I get we're in the car. I get we're taking this maybe toll road, but where the heck are we going? So it's very important when you talk, like especially with us, we're client facing. You got to really dig in deep with the client of like, okay, what are your goals? Get it. You want to make more sales? Okay, we got to go deeper than that.
That's where business plan comes in handy too.
Yeah, no, for sure. Business plan comes in handy big time, but like, great, we want to make more sales. Cool. What's our goal for sales? Why are we trying to make more sales? Are we trying to hire more people? Are we trying to get you more wealthy? Like, what are we trying to do here? You know? Yeah, and that was really important for me to learn because I was definitely I love the tactics. I like the new tricks in the trade. Like, I know there's a lot of things up my sleeve that other people don't have. But it's not all about that. You know what I'm saying? So like this year for me has been very like not only with that, but like I'm very intentional with my time. We're talking about someone that was trying to meet up with us recently, or with me recently, and I'm like, that's great. Like he was trying to get advice on things. I'm like always willing to have coffee or with anybody. But I don't have coffee as much anymore. I'm super busy now. I wish I could. Like my first few years in being an entrepreneur, I'd get coffee with everybody, and I loved that's why I loved being an entrepreneur because I had the time to do that. I don't have that much time anymore to do that. So like this person is known to just, you know, there's a couple people we know out there in any world, right, where they just like they might cancel a lot on you or whatever. I can't do that, you know. So if you cancel on me, that's all. I mean, I get it. Life happens. There's there's plenty of things in life that come into play when you're trying to whatever cancellations, things happen in life. But I don't necessarily reschedule with people because I'm very intentional with my time now, and it's helped. Like I have to be laser focused. I have a lot of things going on in my life. I know you do too, but like it's helped me respect myself so much more, man. And say no to a lot of things, and like being like, okay, no, like these are the things that are important to me. I'm going to protect them at all costs. And that might be like, I might have free time, but you know what? I'm dedicating that to my family or girlfriend, whatever it might be. But like, that's my time I'm dedicating to it because that's important to me. And so like, I heard this, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately. Gosh.
Me too, actually.
But this guy like writes like what's most important to him every day. Every day he just writes like 10 things he wants to do, but like it always starts with like the top 5 things that are most important to him that
I do that.
You have to have like a successful day. How do you win your day? Like, are you hitting all the 5 things that are most important to you? You getting family time in? Are you getting, time to research in? Like as an entrepreneur, we always are researching new things all the time. Are you getting that time in? Are you, getting time in to be productive, so on and so forth. So that's super important to do, and just wanted to bestow that upon you. I know you know a lot of these things, but it's also like just some of my experience, just working my way through, truffling through life, kind of things I've picked up along the way.
Yeah, I wanted to expound on that, but I forgot what I was going to say, I think. But
that was a rant, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Yeah,
I mean, so if someone wants to reschedule and they canceled, like, are you compensating for that, or you're like, just know you missed your shot? Or?
No, it just depends on what it is.
Okay.
If I'm, again, like, I treat everything as a transaction, and it doesn't mean necessarily because I'm just so business. Oh, money has to be this. No, it's my transaction of time. I learned that very young. My mom raised me in the way of like, if I asked for something, and she wanted to give it to me, Mom, I need $200. I want to get this. Okay, here's $200, but you're gonna have to do this to earn it later. So like whatever it is, another like dig up something in the backyard so she can put something, like everything is a transaction. And if you learn to do that for people, you're never overextending yourself. You're never becoming like a yes person, and that's super important to like really know, because like I love people. I can easily be a people pleaser because I just care about people.
Me too.
Like someone's in pain or anything like that, dude, come over, spend the night over at my place. Here's some food, here's some whatever. Like that's how I am. I love to love. I love to love on people. I love to love on people, but like people take advantage of that, even if they're not intentionally taking advantage of that. So you got to learn how to have your limits and your borders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like now I've learned like, okay, if I'm gonna do that for him, like, there's got to be something that they do for me or whatever. And it doesn't mean like I'm just like this for that or whatever, but it just teaches you to respect yourself in your own time.
Back to that person, that old guy I was talking about.
Which one?
The one on the Tom Bilyeu episode.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna get his name real quick. It's on my screen. I was listening to it when I had to go back to my house to pick up my camera this morning. I was listening to it both ways, but he was expounding more on that actually as well. Except he was saying when he has a meeting or anything, he's talking about like building relationships and just. Anything he does for anyone, he always, with intention, thinks about how he can add more value. Like before, say he gave the example of Tom Bilyeu's show. He's like, so before I came on the show, I was like, what can I do because that can help them and help them become where I can add value. And the reason he does that is because when you add value, you become valuable. People are going to be like, oh, people are going to want to talk to you and work with you because you're doing things for them, So it kind of just like builds that law of reciprocity, you could say, in the Go Giver book. But that's the interesting thing about the law of reciprocity is that you can't do it with the expectation though of, and Gary Vee talks about that a lot, it's like, but you're saying is like, you do that with the expectation of.
Yeah, and it could be like again a role of a mentor, right? Like there's a lot of people that like get coffee with me and I like give them advice on things. They're fulfilling the need. The transaction there is like the fulfillment. I'm feeling fulfilled doing that for them.
Yeah, okay,
and like
got you.
They're gonna want it. Like in other words, like for me, like I was very lucky. I had parents who were divorced, but they also gave a lot. They're very selfless in their love for me, and they never let me like talk crap on my parents, or they never talk crap on each other in a lot of ways too. Weren't perfect at it, but they were great. I would say by and large. I want to be a better man because of that. So there's the transaction there. They gave so much to me, and here I am later in life. I'm trying to pay it off by being like, thank you so much for the selfless love you gave me. I want to repay that by being a better person from all the sacrifice you gave me. So that's all I'm saying. It's not necessarily,
I get it.
you know, there and now. Here's this for that or whatever. It could be later, you know.
Yeah, and you
planting
like
seeds,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
Seeds, yeah, and you know it's funny. I did look up the guy's name. He's a really huge name. Everyone knows him. It's John Maxwell.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure. He's got. Now, speaking of a good podcast, he has a great podcast. My girlfriend Danielle always listens to his podcast.
Nice,
really
okay.
good. Really good tokens, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, he's the guy who was 28 who had the biggest church.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes more sense for sure. That makes way
when
more
I looked
sense.
at it, I seen the name. I was like, oh, because when I listen to things while I'm driving, I don't even technically read the title or anything. Sometimes it just plays from the previous thing, and so I didn't even.
Yeah.
I just heard the voice, you know.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, John. There's actually a huge impact in Colorado Springs with the John Maxwell coaching thing. I mean, Robert Kittredge, I think, was a John Maxwell
Student.
Yeah, student, and like there's a lot of people. Michelle Mirage, you know, like a lot of people I know actually have gone through some kind of John Maxwell training, you know, for coaching. You know, we have a lot of coaches out here too, or maybe it's not out here. Maybe that's just I only know that because I got into the business world. Maybe coaches are everywhere. They probably are, but I did notice when I came out here a lot of things. I thought at first were just unique to Colorado or unique to Colorado Springs. They weren't. They were just things I never experienced before,
Right.
because I never put myself out there. So I would notice these things, and I was like, oh, that's so Colorado Springs, you know. But like I realized, you know, like these things happen over in Kansas City too, you know. So
Yeah.
like, I just never. I was only
You never
doing
plugged
my job.
into it.
Never
Yeah.
plugged into it. Yeah.
No, for sure, man. Like I think it's something that's really cool for us, and like things I can look back on, and I think these are things that make us parallel in a lot of ways. Timing's everything. Okay. For me, I started my career in the tiny house movement. Literally perfect timing for me to get involved. You guys can watch my episode, but like I got involved in the tiny house and doing a festival, like literally at the very, very start of the tiny house movement. Now everybody knows what it's like a household thing now. Everybody knows what a tiny house is, and it's just timing, right? You moving here, like during the time that you did, and now that the Springs is starting to really blow up. We're talking about this off air, like 5,000 new units, apartments are coming into downtown area.
Yes.
The next couple of years, new bars. We can give all those different shout outs, but timing is everything. But I think a lot of people also get caught in the weeds of like, okay, like what's the next best thing? And they're waiting for it and they're trying to make the perfect. Really, what it comes down to is just getting started on something. Just get plugged in or whatever it might be, because you are going to hit something.
Be consistent with it.
Yeah, you're right, and you're gonna nail something because, like you said, like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Right, it's the same thing. You have to get started. Don't worry about
Michael Jordan said that, not me.
Wayne Gretzky.
Okay, yeah.
Really.
Oh yeah, Wayne Gretzky. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's so true. Like I think so many people get caught with that though. Like they get so caught in like, oh, I gotta do this because the next best thing, you know, whatever it might be, the next new just get started with something.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You're gonna hit timing with something.
Yeah, and
just get started.
What's crazy with me is when I look back at like my past, or look back at like all the other things that I like when I take a look, like a standpoint, I've always been this way. I just didn't have the right guidance, you know. I've always been trying to create something. I've always, like, you know, being 17, wanting to be a famous rapper, you know, that's a pretty ambitious goal.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, just really, really wanting to. I always believed I could do it. You know, I can make it happen. I can make anything happen. I've always had that in me for some reason, and it may be arrogant, you know, or it may, I don't know, but yeah, it's just. I just feel like I can do anything.
It's I talked about this on my episode, ignorance on fire. It's the same thing, dude.
Yeah.
So it's true. You don't know what you don't know. Like there might have been things I've never would have done, but I was too ignorant and not to understand how hard it was going to be. Then that's why I did it. Like sometimes I'm like, shit, if I knew how hard it was actually going to be, would I have actually done that? Probably not. You know, like that's the principle of ignorance on fire. It's like, when you're young and everything's so novel and like life is so beautiful because you're experiencing things all for the first time. Like there's a beauty, there's a romanticism in that, right? And you just, like I said, you just have to get started, man. Ultimately, you have to get started.
Yeah, that's what I did with the game dev, you know. 3 months down the line, I registered it as a business, you know, but I got started. I've already put at least 300 hours in studying, and not just studying, but practicing, developing my own things. Because I had, what's cool is, like, by the time I was in my second month, I already had examples of my work, you know, like what I'm capable of. I built
cool.
a mountain, you know, so. And I'm actually really excited about the video game that I'm making for Vehement Visuals. It's going to be called Vehement Climber. It's going to be like an endless runner game, but vertical. And it's going to be one giant mountain. And that's the map. So the entire map is one giant mountain. It's going to be vertical on your phone too. So I even have some sketches I could show you.
And is he just continuously going to be running, and then you like move out of the way of stuff, or?
Yeah, well, kind of move out of the way of stuff, but there's a few other aspects that's going to make it really awesome. So the mountain is gigantic. It's like going to be ridiculously big. So there's going to be different stages as you work your way up, kind of like Candy Crush. They have that map as you go through it, except it's a giant mountain. So like the entire and it's going to be all 3D. It's going to utilize Unreal Engine 5's unique aspects called Lumen and Nanite and some other things that are going to make it look really, really beautiful. It's going to look like a AAA game, but designed by one person.
Oh, cool.
And because of the advances that have happened in game development and game development softwares over just the last couple years, actually, these types of results are achievable by a solo dev or a team.
That's so crazy, man.
You know, so it's like the game's not going to be like The Witcher 3 or like Super or like Halo, like with the gigantic storyline. It's going to have a good storyline, a long one, but it's not going to be as
man. Well, simplicity is everything. Even today, think about Apple. That's what they've literally run the whole like branding off of, is the simplicity. You know.
So yeah, I mean, as you go up the mountain, you're gonna get different stages. You start at the bottom, the base of the mountain in a village. And the village is like
cool.
so tiny.
A little Sherpa village or something.
Yeah, a little Sherpa village, and you get to choose between. It's like Pokemon actually in this aspect. You get to choose between 3 different magical skills, and you keep that skill the whole way up the mountain, and you develop that magical skill, and it's your magical skill, whether it's lightning or whether it's we'll figure it out. I haven't done that part, but I think that adds a unique aspect to it that makes it exciting, fun. I want to play the dang game myself, you know.
That's cool.
As you're coming up the mountain, there's going to be different things you go, and maybe even caves and certain things that have like hidden levels, you know, like. And the goal is, as you go up the mountain, it's going to be easy at first. It's going to get increasingly harder as you get up the mountain. So hard that it's going to be nearly impossible to hit the top of the mountain. I want it to be that challenging, but I want it to be fun, like so fun that like as you're like you can't start out that hard. No one's gonna want to play the game.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be super fun. Like Candy Crush does the same thing. I'm taking a lot of inspiration from Candy Crush because I want that $2 million a day.
Oh, I thought what were we talking? 300 an hour. That's a lot more than 300 a minute, or where we were talking about an hour.
That's what I'm saying. You got shoot big, you know, and you'll land at 300 an hour.
Yeah, you're gonna land probably higher than that.
Yeah.
That cool.
No, for sure. And that's the whole Grant Cardone philosophy too. The 10X is that. And by the way, I'm going to a retreat on my birthday actually. A 3-day retreat. Shalene and Mariah and Jeff are putting it on, and they're going to be streaming the 10X. Grant Cardone's 10X conference. So it's like the whole first day, like it's going to be a spring break retreat. It just so happens to fall on my birthday. And cool, it's going to be in the mountains. And my birthday is on the weekend this year, actually. So it's, cool. It's awesome. So it's perfectly aligned. But I can't imagine spending my vacation and my time off better than working on my business, because that's what I love fucking doing. So it's like, but we're also going to have fun. Like after the conference, like during the conference, we're all business. But it's like we're all renting out this place.
That's so important, man. You're like that's where the real creativity is like those after hours. That's why they do retreats. Mm-hmm. You know, because like in peace and like you unplug, like a lot comes to you, man.
Well, I don't know what you're doing on that day, but maybe you guys could come out, or if you or just you. I don't know. Like I want to invite some other people, and
I've been wanting to do retreats. Like even for Recon, we're planning a couple things like that too. We might invite you too.
And they do, that'd be cool. They do a lot of the real estate stuff, so I think that would be perfect for what you're trying to get into. Like they're killing it this year. I don't know if you've seen their Facebook, but like they're killing it, dude. They're like doing like a flip a week or something like that.
Yeah. Well, whatever I pull, I'll give to you, especially for like lenders for self-employed. So I've been looking through those options as well. Mm-hmm. My life's a little bit different now. My grandfather just passed on Christmas late last year, and I'm again speaking of being intentional. I want to be able to be intentional with my next moves. There's certain things that you know already that I'm not really ready to disclose publicly about, like things that I might be closing chapters on and then opening new things on. Real estate. No. Real estate is great. Like that's definitely something that I want to put out there publicly. I want to get involved in with whatever. But
time to close it up. That was my timer.
Oh, was it? Yeah. But anywho, like I want, before we close everything out, just give like a quick shout out to just new businesses downtown that people might not necessarily know. Mm-hmm. And I always say you have like the best pulse of downtown. I know you're not down here as much as you used to be, but you know of a lot of great places down here. So like talk a little bit about some new things opening up, restaurants, anything else you want to
first
talk
I'd
about?
like
Yeah.
to give a shout out to 3 East Comedy Club. I want people to go out there and have a good time. What's cool about like if you've never been to a comedy show, definitely go. Like it's so like I had never been to a comedy show before I knew 3 East. Actually, I seen Charlie Murphy. He walked past me right before he died. But rest in peace.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But,
That's your ADHD kicking in hard, bro. What the heck? 3's comedy.
Yeah, 3 East Comedy Club. Yeah. And you know, if you've never been and experienced a comedy show, it is an amazing experience, and it doesn't have to be like some A-list comedian. These comedians who aren't A-list are just as funny, actually. They just don't have the right marketing behind them, you know? I mean, not everyone. Everyone's different for everyone. Some people might like this person and not like this person just because their style, or because they stole jokes and no one likes them anymore. Carlos Mencia. Just kidding.
Love it. Love it.
Anyways, yeah, I want people to go out and have a good time. Either you can go to the 7 p.m. show. By the time the show's over, it's like 8, 9 p.m. You're already downtown. Go check out a few bars downtown. Go check out Kawadi, you know. Go have a little. You just had like an amazing time at 3E's, you know. Extend the night, or do it vice versa. Come out here before then and go to the 9:30 show, and or I don't know how late people. I know Colorado Springs.
A little early to bed.
Yeah. Colorado Springs, the nightlife isn't very poppin'. I noticed that. It is a little bit on the weekends, but like if you come downtown, even before COVID, if you came downtown on like a Wednesday night. Or just crickets, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like the whole block's quiet, you know.
Until Club Alva opens up, that's going to be what's going to be the case.
Club Alva reopens up.
Yeah, reopens up for sure. No, those are great shout outs, man, for sure. Well, we're going to try to do these things again once a month and just give local businesses shout outs, talk a little bit about like what's going on with us, so our audience gets to know us a little bit better. But beyond that,
beyond that, I'm hungry as crap right now.
So let's close it up.
I'm gonna go to the Dirty Bird.
Dirty Bird,
which is right next to T-Bird's sister company. I'm gonna get some wings.
Right there off of Tejon and Kiowa.
Yeah, and I actually haven't been there yet. I've only been to the T-Birds. And what's funny now, on the receipts, it charges as Dirty Bird.
So what's Dirty Bird? What do they serve? What's different?
Wings and tequila. No. Tacos and tequila, wings and whiskey.
Wings and whiskey's Dirty Bird.
Play on words, you know. It's an alliteration, you know.
Yeah.
You got the TT and you got the WW. WW. Bush. All right.
Awesome. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah. All right. Adios.